Welcome to my channel. Okay, just to let you know that our collab is winding down. Next week will be the last video. It will be the finale to the collab, and the winner for the custom diamond painting will be called. So this is your last chance to get on that, and all you do is you got to be subscribed, and all you do is comment. Comment on my channel. Comment on hers. I can't stress that enough. And you are entered. And each time you comment, you get a ticket. Okay, there we go. You know, sometimes I think the world lacks compassion. I seriously do. It is not hard. You know, the other day I went up to the 99-cent store, and there was this older gentleman, and I guess he had surgery done to his eyes or something, and he couldn't see very well. And so he asked me if I could help him, and I said sure. He wanted a quart of milk and hot dogs. I got it for him. I didn't chew him out because he wasn't wearing a mask. I simply got him what he wanted, asked him if there was anything else I could do for him, and then I just went on my way shopping. It took 2 seconds out of my time. I have seen some wonderful compassion on YouTube lately with the Sparkle-thon. I mean, the creators are to be commended. They have took time out of their lives, out of their schedule, out of their channel to do this, to try to raise money for whatever charity they chose. Now, they're not getting a dime of it. Not a dime. None of it goes to them, right? But yet, the money they raised is going to help other people. I saw one, they raised $500. I can't even remember what organization it was for. But this is a clear thing how simple consideration can help so many lives. Through research, whatever. Because my sister had Lou Gehrig's disease. It is the most horrible way to die. Okay? Imagine yourself going to bed one night, going to sleep, full use of your legs, and then you wake up in the morning, you can't use your legs anymore. They become useless. That's ALS. That's what it does. ALS just affects the muscles by the nerves and control the muscles. And there's virtually no treatment. It's either their heart or their lungs. Thank God my sister went to sleep that night sometime early in the morning. She never woke up. Her heart just stopped. But to show you how, the one thing she wanted to do when she found out she had Lou Gehrig's disease and that she would die was to have a family outing in Hawaii. And we went to this luau. They were absolutely wonderful. Without us asking or saying a word, figuring, because she couldn't use paper plates or forks. They brought her a plate with real silverware, and it had everything that they had up on there on. And my sister should have been born a dolphin. She loved the ocean. She always dove, and they had canoe rides. She never thought she would ever go out on that ocean in any shape or form. Those workers, they didn't know what they did for my sister. They picked her right up, put her in that canoe, and took her out in that ocean. Believe me, I went up to their office. I also emailed their corporation when I come back and told them what kind of service we got there, how wonderful they were, about my sister's condition. And I told those workers, I said, you don't know what you just did. You have no idea. But at the same time, we went to this park type thing, and at the end of it is this big pond that people go swimming in, what have you. The trail, my sister could not, she was in a wheelchair, she could not just go around. And these two, excuse the language, bitches, I had hung back a little bit, and I guess they did think they'd be overheard. It basically made fun of her, say she shouldn't be there, that she should go around, why are they allowing cripples, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah, I went off. I told him, I says, let me tell you something, bitch. That girl you're making fun of won't be alive this time next year. She's got Lou Gehrig's disease. Her chair cannot just go around you, and she has every damn right to be here. Now that bitch didn't show any kind of compassion for anything. And I told her, I says, God forbid something ever happens to you and you're in a wheelchair. I says, I don't even know what kind of human being you are, but I can tell you one thing, you're going to have to answer to God for things you just said. You mark my words. I see two things in the, you know, when you're homeless, there is a perceived notion, okay? It's like you're invisible. You are scumbag. Your friends go by the wayside. All of a sudden, it's like you're unhuman. And these people are human beings. Now, don't get me wrong. The ones who, like myself, who maybe lost a job and their circumstances, they kind of stay in, you won't see them out in the street. They kind of stay in shelters or away, sight unseen type thing. But when you're homeless, you get it from the police. They will come to, it's like, people don't want them in the neighborhood. They don't want them camping out. Well, where are they supposed to sleep? We got a riverbed behind us. Homeless people camp there. I don't be calling the police complaining. They gotta sleep some damn where. But people will, even if it's not bothering them, it's not affecting them, they'll do it. I seen a preacher do it. Motorhomes parked out front, not interfering with his service or his patrons parking or anything. But he called the police. So I told the police, I says, well, what kind of preacher is he? What kind of preacher is he? They told me a lot. People act like sometimes it's so hard to be considerate to somebody else, to have compassion, sympathy, empathy. Because the very person you look down on, you never know what's going to happen. Do you know, I have seen people, this one gentleman, he used to make a lot of money, was an engineer, but when he got sick and had his stroke and what have you, he couldn't do the work, couldn't make the payments, got booted out of his home. They're living in a motorhome. They get SSI, but what good is that? It's either pay rent somewhere and don't eat, and you don't get medication because you can't afford it, or you eat, get your medical care, but live out in the streets. These are normally elderly people, handicapped people. They are proud. So the next time you are driving about, if you see an old motorhome and stuff may be packed on top, what you got there is a senior citizen or handicapped person who's living in that. Give them a break. You know? I remember one time, and it was while I was homeless, hung right down at the Marine in Chula Vista Park thing, and there was a lot of motorhomes down there of seniors, what have you, and I noticed this one senior, he had a very, very difficult time getting into his motorhome. Enough, I knew something wasn't up. So I went to him, and it took some doing, but he let me help him. I helped him up. He would go to this RV park, Chula Vista, stay there 3 weeks, then they'd have to leave for a week, and he would come down there and what have you. Well, he left the park that day, and one time, or later, and I had given him my phone number. That's going to come into play. But he drove to where he was going to park that night. Literally parked, turned off the engine, and died. He said, you know, people, this is how visible. He was dead all day, sitting in there. Nobody noticing. It wasn't to the workers were getting. They saw him there that morning. Didn't pay it no mind. Saw him on the lunch break. Didn't pay it no mind. But at 5 or 6 o'clock, they paid it. When they were getting off work, they paid it mind and called the police. And at one point, the police called me from somebody in the apartment, and they want to. I said, yeah, I barely knew him. I says, I really couldn't tell you much about him. He wouldn't talk about his family. Would you be willing to talk to the officer? Sure. Well, they called me. I says, he's dead, isn't he? I can't answer that. I told him to go to doctors, but he said he wouldn't go because he couldn't afford it, his co-payment. I told him he was going to die, and the cop's he's not doubting my word, and I says, well, what can I help you? They were trying to locate for me, and I says, look, I don't know his family. I couldn't even tell you where he came from. He was very hush-hush about it. His past, he was hush-hush about family. I says, he was buddies, and I gave him the name. I says, if he would have told anybody it would have been him. Now, they're supposed to be buddies. But yet, the only thing that guy was pissed off is he didn't get the motorhome. Yeah, he didn't have any compassion. But that's the way it is in the streets. They can't afford it. Even because when I was homeless, that's where I met my husband. And he had people who had known him for 30 years. 30 damn years. They couldn't show compassion to even show up at his funeral. My husband had to have his funeral buried with strangers. People who never met him, who never knew him. If you are all interested in hearing our story, let me know. And I'll tell you, because I used to have a YouTube channel called Parrot for Life, but I lost the password. But I have that video on save. And I could do a video on it, but you have to understand, at one point I would just direct you to that video, you listen, and then, you know, come back. Save me time having to go through it all over again, but I can tell you how we met. Well, actually I can tell you now. We met because he had compassion. I guess he had asked about me, and he told me later, he says, I respect you because I watched you. You weren't trying to prostitute, you weren't trying to do this, even with, what's his name, with his little dog, because he had this guy had this little dog, and he liked to meet women, and he had trained that dog to go up to any woman. That's how he met women, but he would try to get into women's pants, and he couldn't get into mine. Anyways, like he said, well, I really respect that. But he seen me there, and how he broke ice. He had some kind of sandwich, I don't even remember what it was, and he brought it over to me. We were like glued. But that's how we met. He was a man I should have met many years ago. Many, many years ago. But back to the subject before I get down to tears. Because my husband has been gone for over 5 years. But I always have love for him. And it's painful sometimes to talk about it. So I will go into tears. He was my best friend. More so than any of my family. And, you know, basically what I'm saying is we need to put ourselves in other people's shoes and have compassion. And don't get me wrong, because I'm going to tell you something about the majority of these homeless people. Do not give them money. Why? If they tell you they're hungry, they're lying to you. See, the government has a program where they can get food stamps. Not to mention churches. They feed them. They got to listen to the sermon. And like, Chula Vista, there's this Catholic church. They will give a person sack lunch Monday through Thursday. Friday, they open up and they pepper them, I guess you should say, because the people sit down and the church serves them, and like they'll come with the bread and they give everybody bread. But they open up at 3 o'clock for coffee. The prayer they do is very generic. I'll give them that. They realize not everybody's going to be Catholic. It may take offense. And so they do generic there. They get, oh, the homemade soup is to die for. Yeah, it is so good. Because the soup they serve them, they've made from scratch. Yeah. So they've eaten, and if you give them money, it's going for more like the alcohol or what have you. I won't do it. I'm not mean about it. I mean, like one time I was going to this Mexican restaurant, fast food place, and basically you went up to the window or your food, they had chairs outside, no inside. I noticed this elderly gentleman in a wheelchair, and I don't know, I guess God would just say something to me. And I asked him, I says, when's the last time you ate? He says, yesterday. I says, well, get up here and I'll buy you their special. And he knew what special I was talking about. Because I had the chicken. And it says, you certainly can. Because the special gave you a choice of chicken or hamburger. So he ended up with like chicken, French fries, soda, and ice cream. Now sometimes I'll do that, but I won't give them money. And if they give you excuses why they can't, then if truly all they're wanting the food, they'd be happy. As you can see, I'm not near finished with this like I should be, but you will see it. Even when the club ends, I will still be working on it, and I will do a post review. I promise. Where do we go? Now don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to comment. Comment so you could have a chance to win the custom. Value at $100. So I will bid you farewell. And you all have a good day. Yeah.